Warning, F-bombs are armed and they may be dropped, but not as many as usual because I am working from a script. Please excuse the noise. It decided to start raining this morning. All right, this is the Improvised Armor series. Armor is not just one thing, it's a system. You need at least 3 layers. The outer metal layer won't stop most bullets. Might stop some, but generally speaking, it won't. What it will do is slow the bullets down significantly, which with Kevlar, or as you'll see in the series, burlap sections will typically stop most bullets. There's always going to be a few that can get through anyways. The 50 cal will penetrate armor at or very least will hit you hard enough to kill you, but most of the metal armors that you'll be able to get your hands on will not stop a bullet. However, metal may slow it down enough to give your ballistic armor a chance, but the improvised ballistic armor you're going to see here will not by itself stop a bullet or slow it down enough to be terribly effective. What you need is that outer metal layer to slow it down enough to give your ballistic armor a chance. Thicker armor or thicker metal is not necessarily better armor. Harder armor is usually better. There's obviously some exceptions to that rule. You're going to see one by ZNA Productions. Eli talks about how his aluminum doesn't stop the knife entirely. The main purpose of the metal armor is to slow the bullet down. A very important secondary purpose is to stop edged weapons, slow weapons. The knife will still get through, but it'll stop enough to prevent it from killing you. His armor catches the knife. What I'm going to show you instead is the tread plate, which over the burlap should stop all standard infantry rounds. He also talks about how his aluminum armor will not stop the knife, but it will catch the knife. The tread plate will deflect the knife away. You should also consider all possible options and perhaps test the options available to you. Underneath the metal, you'll need the ballistic vest. Now, that's the one that's shown here as the burlap and resin. That's also by ZNA Productions Eli. Eli's armor stopped a shotgun. That's great. It did not stop what he called a 223, which I suspect was actually a 5.56. In combination, I believe that the steel and burlap would have stopped it. And he was shooting from extremely close range. At a standard engagement distance of about 20 yards, the bullet loses a lot. Underneath that, you'll want padding so that whatever hits you, when it hits you, you'll still know you were hit, but the impact of the armor against your body will not be injurious. Eli makes a slight admission to this towards this in his treadplate armor when he builds this foam insert. This can be accomplished a couple of different ways with different sports armor pieces. One that comes to mind is baseball catcher. It's not as flexible as you want, but it would generally be effective. It would make a much better carrier than the strips of web belt. Also made a point of it to include Eli's baseball helmet conversion and the changes that he made to it. The baseball helmet has no ballistic protection. It won't even slow down a bullet. And if you can address that, good luck. I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do. There may be a metal helmet out there that you could produce that'll do the job, but you want something, and something is better than nothing. Another option, if you have money, is to use riot armor, police riot armor. Police riot armor has no ballistic protection. A bullet will go right through it like it isn't even there, but it is padded, and that will protect you from a lot. This is Eli's stab-proof armor. This appears to be tread plate. I know at one point he used aluminum because it gives a little bit and catches the blade, as he would say, and that is included in the playlist. This is actually superior in a lot of ways than his more serious tread plate armor because it is body conforming. I'm going to say something about that in a moment. I don't know exactly how to convert the burlap and resin into this body conforming. And since Eli is not responding to my emails, there's not much I can do to get him to say. This is the notorious burlap and resin armor. He used a pair of real body Kevlar plates to mold this. I think I know that this is not adequate. It leaves huge gaps in your sides and not a whole lot of protection in your front by itself. However, this is a whole lot better than most of what you're going to see out there, because most of what you're going to see out there is absolutely fucking nothing. This is metal armor by Crash Makerspace, available to them. That's a laser cutter. This metal actually did defeat a 50 cal, so that's awesome. You don't need that much. This is also half-inch plate. That's a lot, and it's very expensive, but it did work. And this is Eli's tread plate armor. Now, this is actually a better version, but you really do want to make that plate all one piece. You'll see here in a moment that he actually uses a grinder to grind away where the bends are. Give it a sec. All right, you see here he's using a grinder to grind out the sections of tread plate at the bends. I don't know how critical this step is, but it wasn't my build either, so it's his problem. I do recommend you keep your use clamps rather than your fingers to hold pieces in place. Just saying. Here he is putting it in a vise to bend it. If your vise is not long enough, you can stretch it out using L steel. And then he welds the backside of the plates where it was ground down and bent to reinforce it. Now that's actually a very good move. And it does offset the damage done. Now, this really is generally intended for the people of Iran right now. They're getting their asses handed to them. 1,500 Iranians every day are dying because the regime is giving foreign mercenaries Captagon as fast as they can ask for it, so that they'll go out and kill everybody. They get word that there's a protest in a town square, a couple of Captagon pills, and they go out with their AKs and they massacre everybody in the square. Doesn't matter if anybody had anything to do with anything. The protesters could be long gone. They don't care. The siege in particular doesn't give a fuck. All right? They'll still go down there and kill everybody, and hey, you know what? We didn't get the ones we were aiming for. Who cares? We sent a real loud and clear message. Yeah, you sent a loud and clear message. You sent a message that you're willing to kill anybody, and that creates fear and instability. That is what's fueling this uprising. Those people are rightfully afraid that they will be killed for no reason, for nothing, for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And don't tell me that this is all about maintaining order. You do not need to machine gun crowds and kill children sitting in cars to maintain order. That was never necessary. This is a crisis that the regime has created entirely for themselves. All right. Please watch the rest of the playlist. You can watch it at 2x speed. That's fine. It's not going to affect much. Be sure to go back and rewatch very closely the sections where maybe is a little more technical detail. There's a couple of videos in here about case hardening metal. The case hardening will make the steel harder, which will improve its qualities. If you do it correctly, be careful. You got to do it correctly. All right. In particular, my beef with Eli's bullet resistant armor is it only covers this very small area. All right. There's all this area that's still exposed. The easiest way to do that would be to make a form of your own body and then use the burlap over that, right? That may not be possible. You may just have to wing it and do the best you can with what you got. But you do definitely want it to cover your entire body. I'm going to go a little bit further on this. First of all, have the back piece be one solid piece that reaches all the way over your shoulders and at least as far forward that you can reach. Have the front piece, obviously covering the front part of your body, and have the two metal pieces. Have the two metal pieces so you can hook the front piece onto the back piece at the shoulders and down at the sides. And then have some of the burlap go past the metal on one piece and not all the way up to the edge with the other piece. This way, there's no breaks in the coverage. Yes, that 1 in 1,000 shot that gets right through an incomplete continuation area, right? A chink in the armor is going to be a problem. It was going to be a problem, and sometimes it really is a matter of your numbers just stop. And I'm sorry, that's all you can do. To the people of Iran, I will pray for you. I hope everything does work out in the end, and I'm sorry that this is the best I can do for you now. Remember the other things that I have said. The thing about rocks, right? When you have managed to take some of those Basij and Farujas, you do what you got to do from there. And I will pray for you. God bless you. And Javid Shah. Go to hell, Khomeini.